for blessings and wish merit for every living being. That is a fine teaching, concluded the farmer, but please make one exception. I have a neighbor who is rough and mean to me. Just exclude him from all those sentient beings. Suiwo, the disciple of Hakuin, was a good teacher. During one summer seclusion period, a pupil came to him from a southern island of Japan. Suiwo gave him a problem. Hear the sound of one hand. The pupil remained 3 years but could not pass this test. One night he came in tears to Suiwo. I must return south in shame and embarrassment, he said, for I cannot solve my problem. Wait 1 week more and meditate constantly, advised Suiwo. Still no enlightenment came to the pupil. Try for another week, said Suiwo. The pupil obeyed, but in vain. Still another week. Yet this was of no avail. In despair, the student begged to be released, but Suiwo requested another meditation of 5 days. They were without result. Then he said, meditate for 3 days longer. Then if you fail to attain enlightenment, you had better kill yourself. On the 2nd day, the pupil was enlightened. Provided he makes and wins an argument about Buddhism with those who live there, any wandering monk can remain in the Zen temple. If he is defeated, he has to move on. In a temple in the northern part of Japan, 2 brother monks were dwelling together. The elder one was learned, but the younger one was stupid and had but one eye. A wandering monk came and asked for lodging, properly challenging them to a debate about the sublime teaching. The elder brother, tired that day from much studying, told the younger one to take his place. Go and request the dialogue in silence, he cautioned. So the young monk and the stranger went to the shrine and sat down. Shortly afterwards, the traveler rose and went into the elder brother and said, Your young brother is a wonderful fellow. He defeated me. Relate the dialogue to me, said the elder one. Well, explained the traveler, first I held up 1 finger, representing Buddha, the enlightened one. So he held up 2 fingers, signifying Buddha and his teaching. I held up 3 fingers, representing Buddha, his teaching, and his followers living the harmonious life. Then he shook his clenched fist in my face, indicating that all 3 come from one realization. Thus he won, and so I have no right to remain here. With this, the traveler left. Where's that fellow? Asked the younger one, running into his elder brother. I understand you won the debate. Won nothing. I'm going to beat him up. Tell me the subject of the debate, asked the elder one. Why, the minute he saw me, he held up 1 finger, insulting me by insinuating that I have only 1 eye. Since he was a stranger, I thought I would be polite to him, so I held up 2 fingers, congratulating him that he has 2 eyes. Then the impolite wretch held up 3 fingers, suggesting that between us we only have 3 eyes. So I got mad and started to punch him, but he ran out and that ended it. After Bankei had passed away, a blind man who lived near the master's temple told a friend, Since I'm blind, I cannot watch a person's face, so I must judge his character by the sound of his voice. Ordinarily, when I hear someone congratulate another upon his happiness or success, I also hear a secret tone of envy. When condolence is expressed for the misfortune of another, I hear pleasure and satisfaction, as if the one condoling was really glad there was something left to gain in his own world. In all my experience, however, Bankei's voice was always sincere. Whenever he expressed happiness, I heard nothing but happiness, and whenever he expressed sorrow, sorrow was all I heard.
Wish you had a professional business address and phone number instead of your home address and personal number? Are you looking to register your business using an address other than your home? Wouldn't it be great if you could read and manage your business mail from anywhere? iPostal One can help. With an iPostal One virtual business address, It's easy to stay connected, protect your privacy, and enhance your business image. You'll be able to receive mail and packages from any carrier and register your business using your new business address. View and manage your mail the day we receive it using our app or website. You can even pick it up. So, how does it work? Simply choose a business address at any of the thousands of office buildings, workspaces, or shipping stores in our international network. If you want a phone and fax number that's just for your business, we can do that too. Then you can update all your business contact details with a professional address and phone number. When your mail arrives, we'll take a picture of the envelope or package, upload it to your account, and send you a notification when it's ready to view. From there, just log into your account and tell us what you want to do with each item. Forward, scan, schedule a pickup, discard, or shred it. We'll do the rest. With thousands of great reviews, our customers love our service. Stay connected to your business 24/7 with an iPostal One virtual business address. Sign up today at ipostal1.com.
Therapy has always been such a scary idea to me because I simply did not know where to get started. I didn't know how to find my person. I did not know where to go until BetterHelp came in and helped me solve a lot of those problems. With BetterHelp, I got started on my therapy journey and I actually went through a couple of different therapists to find my perfect match, and that's something that you shouldn't be scared of. You start with a questionnaire when getting started with BetterHelp, and even that helped me guide and helped me think about what I'm looking for with this experience, because getting started, I had no idea. The only thing I knew going into it was that I would benefit from talking about my feelings, and just having someone there who's there professionally to help me guide through life took some time for me to get adjusted and to figure out what I'm looking for, but BetterHelp accommodates that perfectly. You can request change, no extra charge, and now that I've found my perfect match, I feel so supported going through life, and I've been traveling a lot recently, and that takes a toll on my stress level and just having a lot of thoughts that come with the travels, but I'm connected to my therapist at all times without being in one city, which is another great part. If you are traveling, I can reach my therapist through a message, voice call, video call, depending on what my situation is like at that time of the week. Over 4 million people have used BetterHelp. Everything's done online and nothing to be scared of, really, and I'm here to testify for that. If you've been wanting to get started on your therapy journey, I highly recommend BetterHelp.
Keichu, the great Zen teacher of the Meiji era, was the head of Tofuku, a cathedral in Kyoto. One day the governor of Kyoto called upon him for the first time. His attendant presented the card of the governor, which read, "Kitagaki, governor of Kyoto." "I have no business with such a fellow," said Keichu to his attendant. "Tell him to get out of here." The attendant carried the card back with apologies. "That was my error," said the governor, and with a pencil he scratched out the words, "Governor of Kyoto." "Ask your teacher again." "Oh, is that Kitagaki?" exclaimed the teacher when he saw the card. "I want to see that fellow." When Banzan was walking through a market, he overheard a conversation between a butcher and his customer. "Give me the best piece of meat you have," said the customer. "Everything in my shop is the best," replied the butcher. "You cannot find here any piece of meat that is not the best." At these words, Banzan became enlightened. Mokusen Hiki was living in a temple in the province of Tamba. One of his adherents complained of the stinginess of his wife. Mokusen visited the adherent's wife and showed her his clenched fist before her face. "What do you mean by that?" asked the surprised woman. "Suppose my fist were always like that. What would you call it?" he asked. "Deformed," replied the woman. Then he opened his hand flat in her face and asked, "Suppose it were always like that. What then?" "Another kind of deformity," said the wife. "If you understand that much," finished Mokusen, "you are a good wife." Then he left. After his visit, this wife helped her husband to distribute as well as to save. Mokugen was never known to smile until his last day on earth. When his time came to pass away, he said to his faithful ones, "You have studied under me for more than 10 years. Show me your real interpretation of Zen. Whoever expresses this most clearly shall be my successor and receive my robe and bowl." Everyone watched Mokugen's severe face, but no one answered. Incho, a disciple who had been with his teacher for a long time, moved near the bedside. He pushed forward the medicine cup a few inches. This was his answer to the command. The teacher's face became even more severe. "Is that all you understand?" he asked. Encho reached out and moved the cup back again. A beautiful smile broke over the features of Mokugen. "You rascal," he told Encho. "You have worked with me 10 years and have not yet seen my whole body. Take the robe and bowl. They belong to you." Zen students are with their masters at least 10 years before they presume to teach others. Non-In was visited by Tenno, who, having passed his apprenticeship, had become a teacher. The day happened to be rainy, so Tenno wore wooden clogs and carried an umbrella. After greeting him, Non-In remarked, "I suppose you left your wooden clogs in the vestibule. I want to know if your umbrella is on the right or left side of the clogs." Tenno, confused, had no instant answer. He realized that he was unable to carry his Zen every minute. He became Non-In's pupil, and he studied 6 more years to accomplish his every minute Zen. Subhuti was Buddha's disciple. He was able to understand the potency of emptiness, the viewpoint that nothing exists except in its relationship of subjectivity and objectivity. One day, Subhuti, in a mood of sublime emptiness, was sitting under a tree. Flowers began to fall about him. "We are praising you for your discourse on emptiness," the gods whispered to him. "But I have not spoken of emptiness," said Subhuti. "You have not spoken of emptiness. We have not heard emptiness," responded the gods. "This is the true emptiness." And blossoms showered upon Subhuti as rain. Gisho was ordained as a nun when she was 10 years old. She received training just as the little boys did. When she reached the age of 16, she traveled from one Zen master to another, studying with them all. She remained 3 years with Unzan, 6 years with Kuke, but was unable to obtain a clear vision. At last she went to the master Inzan. Inzan showed her no distinction at all on account of her sex. He scolded her like a thunderstorm. He cuffed her to awaken her inner nature. Gisho remained with Inzan 13 years, and then she found that which she was seeking. In her honor, Inzan wrote a poem. "This nun studied 13 years under my guidance. In the evening she considered the deepest koans. In the morning she was wrapped in other koans. The Chinese nun Tetsuma surpassed all before her, and since Mujaku, none has been so genuine as this Gisho. Yet there are many more gates for her to pass through. She should receive still more blows from my iron fist." After Gisho was enlightened, she went to the province of Banshu, started her own Zen temple, and taught 200 other nuns until she passed away 1 year in the month of August.
We're Phoenix Energy, a family-owned oil company focused on unleashing American oil from North Dakota and Montana. We've already sold over 2.9 million barrels, creating steady jobs for hard-working folks chasing the American dream. You can share in our success by investing with Phoenix Energy. and get 9 to 13% annual interest through our Regulation D 506C bond offering. Join our next investor webinar to learn more about Phoenix Energy.
Now give it to me. Oh yeah.
The master Soyen Shaku passed from this world when he was 61 years of age. Fulfilling his life's work, he left a great teaching, far richer than that of most Zen masters. His pupils used to sleep in the daytime during midsummer, and while he overlooked this, he himself never wasted a minute. When he was but 12 years old, he was already studying Tendai philosophical speculation. One summer day, the air had been so sultry that little Soyen stretched his legs and went to sleep while his teacher was away. 3 hours passed when, suddenly waking, he heard his master enter, but it was too late. There he lay, sprawled across the doorway. "I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon," his teacher whispered, stepping carefully over Soyen's body, as if it were that of some distinguished guest. After this, Soyen never slept again in the afternoon. Our schoolmaster used to take a nap every afternoon, related a disciple of Soyen Shaku. We children asked him why he did it, and he told us, "I go to dreamland to meet the old sages just as Confucius did." When Confucius slept, he would dream of ancient sages and later tell his followers about them. It was extremely hot one day, so some of us took a nap. Our schoolmaster scolded us. "We went to dreamland to meet the ancient sages, the same as Confucius did," we explained. "What was the message from those sages?" our schoolmaster demanded. One of us replied, "We went to dreamland and met the sages and asked them if our schoolmaster came there every afternoon, but they said they had never seen any such fellow." Joshu began the study of Zen when he was 60 years old and continued until he was 80 when he realized Zen. He taught from the age of 80 until he was 120. A student once asked him, "If I haven't anything in my mind, what shall I do?" Joshu replied, "Throw it out." "But if I haven't anything, how can I throw it out?" continued the questioner. "Well," said Joshu, "then carry it out." When Mamiya, who later became a well-known preacher, went to a teacher for personal guidance, he was asked to explain the sound of one hand. Mamiya concentrated upon what the sound of one hand might be. "You're not working hard enough," his teacher told him. "You're too attached to food, wealth, things, and that sound. It would be better if you died. That would solve the problem." The next time Mamiya appeared before his teacher, he was again asked what he had to show regarding the sound of one hand. Mamiya at once fell over as if he were dead. "You're dead, all right," observed the teacher. "But how about that sound?" "I haven't solved that yet," replied Mamiya, looking up. "Dead men do not speak," said the teacher. "Get out." Tosui was a well-known Zen teacher of his time. He had lived in several temples and taught in various provinces. The last temple he visited accumulated so many adherents that Tosui told them he was going to quit the lecture business entirely. He advised them to disperse and to go wherever they desired. After that, no one could find any trace of him. 3 years later, one of his disciples discovered him living with some beggars under a bridge in Kyoto. He at once implored Tosui to teach him. "If you can do as I do for even a couple of days, I might," Tosui replied. So the former disciple dressed as a beggar and spent a day with Tosui. The following day, one of the beggars died. Tosui and his pupil carried the body off at midnight and buried it on a mountainside. After that, they returned to their shelter under the bridge. Tosui slept soundly the remainder of the night, but the disciple could not sleep. When morning came, Tosui said, "We do not have to beg food today. Our dead friend has left some over there." But the disciple was unable to eat a single bite of it. "I've said you could not do as I," concluded Tosui. "Get out of here and do not bother me again." When Bankei held his seclusion weeks of meditation, pupils from many parts of Japan came to attend. During one of these gatherings, a pupil was caught stealing. The matter was reported to Bankei with the request that the culprit be expelled. Bankei ignored the case.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 2, credit card combat. Getting your finances together? Learn to master your money with Credit Karma today for a stronger tomorrow. Defend yourself against generic advice and one-size-fits-all recommendations. Credit Karma gathers offers from trusted partners, helping you quickly pin down the cards and loans that are right for you so you can build those money muscles. Harness the power of Credit Karma today to win your financial future tomorrow.
Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey! Jingle bells, in a one-horse open sleigh. All the
Later, the pupil was caught in a similar act, and again Bankei disregarded the matter. This angered the other pupils, who drew up a petition asking for the dismissal of the thief, stating that otherwise they would leave in a body. When Bankei had read the petition, he called everyone before him. "You are wise brothers," he told them. "You know what is right and what is not right. You may go somewhere else to study if you wish. But this poor brother does not even know right from wrong. Who will teach him if I do not? I'm going to keep him here, even if all the rest of you leave." A torrent of tears cleansed the face of the brother who had stolen. All desire to steal had vanished. During the Kamakura period, Shinkan studied Tendai 6 years and then studied Zen 7 years. Then he went to China and contemplated Zen for 13 years more. When he returned to Japan, many desired to interview him and asked obscure questions. But when Shinkan received visitors, which was infrequently, he seldom answered their questions. One day, a 50-year-old student of enlightenment said to Shinkan, "I have studied the Tendai school of thought since I was a little boy, but one thing in it I cannot understand. Tendai claims that even the grass and trees will become enlightened. To me, this seems very strange. Of what use is it to discuss how grass and trees become enlightened?" asked Shinkan. "The question is how you yourself can become so. Did you ever consider that?" "I never thought of it in that way," marveled the old man. "Then go home and think it over," finished Shinkan. The Buddhist nun known as Ryonen was born in 1797. She was a granddaughter of the famous Japanese warrior Shingen. Her poetical genius and alluring beauty were such that at 17 she was serving the empress as one of the ladies of the court. Even at such a youthful age, fame awaited her. The beloved empress died suddenly, and Ryonen's hopeful dreams vanished. She became acutely aware of the impermanency of life in this world. It was then that she desired to study Zen. Her relatives disagreed, however, and practically forced her into marriage. With a promise that she might become a nun after she had borne 3 children, Ryonen assented. Before she was 25, she had accomplished this condition. Then her husband and relatives could no longer dissuade her from her desire. She shaved her head, took the name of Ryonen, which means to realize clearly, and started on her pilgrimage. She came to the city of Edo and asked Tetsugyu to accept her as a disciple. At one glance, the master rejected her because she was too beautiful. Ryonen then went on to another master, Hakuo. Hakuo refused her for the same reason, saying that her beauty would only make trouble. Ryonen obtained a hot iron and placed it against her face. In a few moments, her beauty had vanished forever. Hakuo then accepted her as a disciple. Commemorating this occasion, Ryonen wrote a poem on the back of a little mirror. In the service of my empress, I burned incense to perfume my exquisite clothes. Now, as a homeless mendicant, I burn my face to enter a Zen temple. When Ryonen was about to pass from this world, she wrote another poem. 66 times these eyes beheld the changing scene of autumn. I have said enough about moonlight. Ask no more. Only listen to the voice of pines and cedars when no wind stirs. The cook monk, Daidio, at Bankai's monastery decided that he would take good care of his old teacher's health and give him only fresh miso, a paste of soybeans mixed with wheat and yeast that often ferments. Bankei, noticing that he was being served better miso than his pupils, asked, "Who's the cook today?" Daidio was sent before him. Bankei learned that according to his age and position, he should eat only fresh miso. So he said to the cook, "Then you think I shouldn't eat at all?" With this, he entered his room and locked the door. Daidio, sitting outside the door, asked his teacher's pardon. Bankei would not answer. For 7 days, Daidio sat outside and Bankei within. Finally, in desperation, an adherent called loudly to Bankei, "You may be all right, old teacher, but this young disciple here has to eat. He cannot go without food forever." At that, Bankei opened the door. He was smiling. He told Daidio, "I insist on eating the same food as the least of my followers. When you become the teacher, I do not want you to forget this." A student of Tendai, a philosophical school of Buddhism, came to the Zen abode of Gasan as a pupil. When he was departing a few years later, Gasan warned him, "Studying the truth speculatively is useful as a way of collecting preaching material. But remember that unless you meditate constantly, your light of truth may go out."
Today, we are diving into the Quick and Simplified Budgeting app. Click on Spending Plan, and this is where you're going to see a picture of your monthly budget. You're going to see the income after bills and saving. You're going to see any bills and subscriptions denoted in this section. Next, you're going to see planned spending. These are any budgeted areas that happen outside of those bills, like groceries, gas and fuel, gifts, restaurants. Next is any other spending. So if you have one-off purchases that are happening within the month, then this is where that other spending and transactions would live. Then you're going to see the amount available within the month. So then you can go ahead and allocate those funds to a specific category.
Hello to new Sargento 100% natural American cheese.
Sargento, a promise you can taste.
While Seisetsu was the master of Engaku in Kamakura, he required larger quarters since those in which he was teaching were overcrowded. Umezu Seibi, a merchant of Edo, decided to donate 500 pieces of gold called ryo toward the construction of a more commodious school. This money he brought to the teacher. Seisetsu said, "All right, I will take it." Umezu gave Seisetsu the sack of gold, but he was dissatisfied with the attitude of the teacher. "Are 500 ryo," hinted Umezu. "You told me that before," replied Seisetsu. "Even if I am a wealthy merchant, 500 ryo is a lot of money," said Umezu. "Do you want me to thank you for it?" asked Seisetsu. "You ought to," replied Umezu. "Why should I?" inquired Seisetsu. "The giver should be thankful." Taiko, a warrior who lived in Japan before the Tokugawa era, studied Chan-no-yu, tea etiquette, with Sen-no Rikyu, the teacher of that aesthetical expression of calmness and contentment. Taiko's attendant warrior, Kato, interpreted his superior's enthusiasm for tea etiquette as negligence of state affairs, so he decided to kill Sen-no Rikyu. He pretended to make a social call upon the tea master and was invited to drink tea. The master, who was well skilled in his art, saw at a glance the warrior's intention, so he invited Kato to leave his sword outside before entering the room for the ceremony, explaining that Chan-no-yu represents peacefulness itself. Kato would not listen to this. "I am a warrior," he said. "I always have my sword with me. Chan-no-yu or no Chan-no-yu, I have my sword." "Very well. Bring your sword in and have some tea," consented Sen-no Rikyu. The kettle was boiling on the charcoal fire. Suddenly, Sen-no Rikyu tipped it over. Hissing steam arose, filling the room with smoke and ashes. The startled warrior ran outside. The tea master apologized. "It was my mistake. Come back in and have some tea. I have your sword here covered with ashes, and will clean it and give it to you." In this predicament, the warrior realized he could not very well kill the tea master, so he gave up the idea. Just before Ninakawa passed away, the Zen master Ikkyu visited him. "Shall I lead you on?" Ikkyu asked. Ninakawa replied, "I came here alone, and I go alone. What help could you be to me?" Ikkyu answered, "If you think you really come and go, that is your delusion. Let me show you the path on which there is no coming and no going." With his words, Ikkyu had revealed the path so clearly that Ninakawa smiled and passed away. A soldier named Nobushige came to Hakuin and asked, "Is there really a paradise and a hell?" "Who are you?" inquired Hakuin. "I am a samurai," the warrior replied. "You, a soldier?" exclaimed Hakuin. "What kind of ruler would have you as his guard? Your face looks like that of a beggar." Nobushige became so angry that he began to draw his sword, but Hakuin continued, "So you have a sword. Your weapon is probably much too dull to cut off my head." As Nobushige drew his sword, Hakuin remarked, "Here open the gates of hell." At these words, the samurai, perceiving the master's discipline, sheathed his sword and bowed. "Here open the gates of paradise," said Hakuin. A merchant bearing 50 rolls of cotton goods on his shoulders stopped to rest from the heat of the day beneath a shelter where a large stone Buddha was standing. There he fell asleep, and when he awoke, his goods had disappeared. He immediately reported the matter to the police. A judge named Ooka opened court to investigate. "That stone Buddha must have stolen the goods," concluded the judge. "He is supposed to care for the welfare of the people, but he has failed to perform his holy duty. Arrest him." The police arrested the stone Buddha and carried it into court. A noisy crowd followed the statue, curious to learn what kind of sentence the judge was about to impose. When Ooka appeared on the bench, he rebuked the boisterous audience. "What right have you people to appear before the court laughing and joking in this manner? You are in contempt of court and subject to a fine and imprisonment." The people hastened to apologize. "I shall have to impose a fine on you," said the judge, "but I will remit it, provided each one of you brings one roll of cotton goods to the courts within 3 days. Anyone failing to do this will be arrested." One of the rolls of cloth which the people brought was quickly recognized by the merchant as his own, and thus the thief was easily discovered. The merchant recovered his goods, and the cotton rolls were returned to the people.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us at our next investor webinar, where you can drill deeper into our 9 to 13% annual interest rate bond offerings and see how our company has become an emerging leader in the oil and gas industry. In 2024, Phoenix Energy rose to become the 11th most prolific oil and gas operator in the Williston Basin, one of America's top producing regions. We are now right alongside industry giants like ConocoPhillips and EOG, and plan to continue rising in the rankings. Our daily production rates have risen as high as 18,000 barrels of oil per day. We've sold more than 4 million barrels, and we're just getting started. We hope to see you at our brief webinar. In less than 1 hour, you will learn more about our 9 to 13% annual interest rate bond offerings and the U.S. oil and gas sector.
Once a division of the Japanese army was engaged in a sham battle, and some of the officers found it necessary to make their headquarters in Gassan's temple. Gassan told his cook, "Let the officers have only the same simple fare we eat." This made the army men angry, as they were used to very deferential treatment. One came to Gassan and said, "Who do you think we are? We are soldiers, sacrificing our lives for our country. Why don't you treat us accordingly?" Gassan answered sternly, "Who do you think we are? We are soldiers of humanity, aiming to save all sentient beings." Zenkai, the son of a samurai, journeyed to Edo and there became the retainer of a high official. He fell in love with the official's wife and was discovered. In self-defense, he slew the official. Then he ran away with the wife. Both of them later became thieves, but the woman was so greedy that Zenkai grew disgusted. Finally, leaving her, he journeyed far away to the province of Buzen, where he became a wandering mendicant. To atone for his past, Zenkai resolved to accomplish some good deed in his lifetime. Knowing of a dangerous road over a cliff that had caused the death and injury of many persons, he resolved to cut a tunnel through the mountain there. Begging food in the daytime, Zenkai worked at night digging his tunnel. When 30 years had gone by, the tunnel was 2,280 feet long, 20 feet high, and 30 feet wide. 2 years before the work was completed, the son of the official he had slain, who was a skillful swordsman, found Zenkai out and came to kill him in revenge. "I will give you my life willingly," said Zenkai. "Only let me finish this work. On the day it is completed, then you may kill me." So the son awaited the day. Several months passed and Zenkai kept on digging. The son grew tired of doing nothing and began to help with the digging. After he had helped for more than a year, he came to admire Zenkai's strong will and character. At last, the tunnel was completed, and the people could use it to travel in safety. "Now cut off my head," said Zenkai. "My work is done." "How can I cut off my own teacher's head?" asked the younger man, with tears in his eyes. A great Japanese warrior named Nobunaga decided to attack the enemy, although he had only 1/10 the number of men the opposition commanded. He knew that he would win, but his soldiers were in doubt. On the way, he stopped at a Shinto shrine and told his men, "After I visit the shrine, I will toss a coin. If heads comes, we will win. If tails, we will lose. Destiny holds us in her hand." Nobunaga entered the shrine and offered a silent prayer. He came forth and tossed a coin. Heads appeared. His soldiers were so eager to fight that they won their battle easily. "No one can change the hand of destiny," his attendant told him after the battle. "Indeed not," said Nobunaga, showing a coin which had been doubled, with heads facing either way. Gasan instructed his adherents one day, "Those who speak against killing and who desire to spare the lives of all conscious beings are right. It is good to protect even animals and insects. But what about those persons who kill time? What about those who are destroying wealth and those who destroy political economy? We should not overlook them. Furthermore, what of the one who preaches without enlightenment? He is killing Buddhism." A young wife fell sick and was about to die. "I love you so much," she told her husband. "I do not want to leave you. Do not go from me to any other woman. If you do, I will return as a ghost and cause you endless trouble." Soon the wife passed away. The husband respected her last wish for the first 3 months, but then he met another woman and fell in love with her. They became engaged to be married.
Wish you had a professional business address and phone number instead of your home address and personal number? Are you looking to register your business using an address other than your home? Wouldn't it be great if you could read and manage your business mail from anywhere? iPostal One can help. With an iPostal One virtual business address, it's easy to stay connected, protect your privacy, and enhance your business image. You'll be able to receive mail and packages from any carrier and register your business using your new business address. View and manage your mail.
But then he met another woman and fell in love with her. They became engaged to be married. Immediately after the engagement, a ghost appeared every night to the man, blaming him for not keeping his promise. The ghost was clever, too. She told him exactly what had transpired between himself and his new sweetheart. Whenever he gave his fiancée a present, the ghost would describe it in detail. She would even repeat conversations, and it so annoyed the man that he could not sleep. Someone advised him to take his problem to a Zen master who lived close to the village. At length, in despair, the poor man went to him for help. "Your former wife became a ghost and knows everything you do," commented the master. "Whatever you do or say, whatever you give your beloved, she knows. She must be a very wise ghost. Really, you should admire such a ghost. The next time she appears, bargain with her. Tell her that she knows so much you can hide nothing from her, and that if she will answer you one question, you promise to break your engagement and remain single." "What is the question I must ask her?" inquired the man. The master replied, "Take a large handful of soybeans and ask her exactly how many beans you hold in your hand. If she cannot tell you, you will know she is only a figment of your imagination and will trouble you no longer." The next night, when the ghost appeared, the man flattered her and told her that she knew everything. "Indeed," replied the ghost, "and I know you went to see that Zen master today." "And since you know so much," demanded the man, "tell me how many beans I hold in this hand." There was no longer any ghost to answer the question. Yamaoka Teshu was a tutor of the emperor. He was also a master of fencing and a profound student of Zen. His home was the abode of vagabonds. He had but one suit of clothes, for they kept him always poor. The emperor, observing how worn his garments were, gave Yamaoka some money to buy new ones. The next time Yamaoka appeared, he wore the same old outfit. "What became of the new clothes?" Yamaoka asked the emperor. "I provided clothes for the children of your majesty," explained Yamaoka. In modern times, a great deal of nonsense is talked about masters and disciples, and about the inheritance of a master's teaching by favorite pupils, entitling them to pass the truth on to their adherents. Of course, Zen should be imparted in this way from heart to heart, and in the past it was really accomplished. Silence and humility reigned rather than profession and assertion. The one who received such a teaching kept the matter hidden even after 20 years. Not until another discovered through his own need that a real master was at hand was it learned that the teaching had been imparted. And even then the occasion arose quite naturally, and the teaching made its way in its own right. Under no circumstance did the teacher even claim, "I am the successor of so-and-so." Such a claim would prove quite the contrary. The Zen master Munan had only one successor. His name was Shoju. After Shoju had completed his study of Zen, Munan called him into his room. "I'm getting old," he said, "and as far as I know, Shoju, you are the only one who will carry on this teaching. Here's a book. It has been passed down from master to master for 7 generations. I also have added many points according to my understanding. The book is very valuable, and I'm giving it to you to represent your successorship." "If the book is such an important thing, you had better keep it," Shoju replied. "I received your Zen without writing, and I'm satisfied with it as it is." "I know that," said Munan. "Even so, this work has been carried from master to master for 7 generations, so you may keep it as a symbol of having received the teaching. Here." The two happened to be talking before a brazier. The instant Shoju felt the book in his hands, he thrust it into the flaming coals. He had no lust for possessions. Munan, who never had been angry before, yelled, "What are you doing?" Shoju shouted back, "What are you saying?" After Kakuwa visited the emperor, he disappeared and no one knew what became of him. He was the first Japanese to study Zen in China, but since he showed nothing of it, save one note, he is not remembered for having brought Zen into his country. Kakuwa visited China and accepted the true teaching. He did not travel while he was there. Meditating constantly, he lived on a remote part of a mountain. Whenever people found him and asked him to preach, he would say a few words and then move to another part of the mountain where he could be found less easily. The emperor heard about Kakuwa when he returned to Japan and asked him to preach Zen for his edification and that of his subjects. Kakuwa stood before the emperor in silence. He then produced a flute from the folds of his robe and blew one short note. Bowing politely, he disappeared.
Therapy has always been such a scary idea to me because I simply did not know where to get started. I didn't know how to find my person. I did not know where to go until BetterHelp came in and helped me solve a lot of those problems. With BetterHelp, I got started on my therapy journey and I actually went through a couple of different therapists to find my perfect match, and that's something that you shouldn't be scared of. You start with a questionnaire when getting started with BetterHelp, and even that helped me guide and helped me think about what I'm looking.
Circumstances arose one day which delayed preparation of the dinner of a Soto Zen master, Fugai, and his followers. In haste, the cook went to the garden with his curved knife and cut off the tops of green vegetables, chopped them together, and made soup. unaware that in his haste he had included part of a snake in the vegetables. The followers of Fugai thought they never had tasted such a good soup. But when the master himself found the snake's head in his bowl, he summoned the cook. "What is this?" he demanded, holding up the head of the snake. "Oh, thank you, master," replied the cook, taking the morsel and eating it quickly. Suzan, a Chinese Zen master, was asked by a student, "What is the most valuable thing in the world?" The master replied, "The head of a dead cat." "Why is the head of a dead cat the most valuable thing in the world?" inquired the student. Suzan replied, "Because no one can name its price." The pupils of the Tendai school used to study meditation before Zen entered Japan. 4 of them, who were intimate friends, promised one another to observe 7 days of silence. On the first day all were silent. Their meditation had begun auspiciously. But when night came and the oil lamps were growing dim, one of the pupils could not help exclaiming to a servant, "Fix those lamps." The second pupil was surprised to hear the first one talk. "We're not supposed to say a word," he remarked. "You two are stupid. Why did you talk?" asked the third. "I'm the only one who has not talked," concluded the fourth pupil. Zen pupils take a vow that even if they are killed by their teacher, they intend to learn Zen. Usually they cut a finger and seal their resolution with blood. In time, the vow has become a mere formality, and for this reason, the pupil who died by the hand of Aikido was made to appear a martyr. Aikido had become a severe teacher. His pupils feared him. One of them on duty striking the gong to tell the time of day missed his beats when his eye was attracted by a beautiful girl passing the temple gate. At that moment, Aikido, who was directly behind him, hit him with a stick, and the shock happened to kill him. The pupil's guardian, hearing of the accident, went directly to Aikido. Knowing that he was not to blame, he praised the master for his severe teaching. Aikido's attitude was just the same as if the pupil were still alive. After this took place, he was able to produce under his guidance more than 10 enlightened successors, a very unusual number. Ryokan devoted his life to the study of Zen. One day he heard that his nephew, despite the admonitions of relatives, was spending his money on a courtesan. Inasmuch as the nephew had taken Ryokan's place in managing the family estate and the property was in danger of being dissipated, the relatives asked Ryokan to do something about it. Ryokan had to travel a long way to visit his nephew, whom he had not seen for many years. The nephew seemed pleased to meet his uncle again and invited him to remain overnight. All night, Ryokan sat in meditation. As he was departing in the morning, he said to the young man, "I must be getting old. My hand shakes, so will you help me tie the string of my straw sandal?" The nephew helped him willingly. "Thank you," finished Ryokan. "You see, a man becomes older and feebler day by day. Take good care of yourself." Then Ryokan left, never mentioning a word about the courtesan or the complaints of the relatives. But from that morning on, the dissipations of the nephew ended. A Zen student came to Bankei and complained, "Master, I have an ungovernable temper. How can I cure it?" "You have something very strange," replied Bankei. "Let me see what you have." "Just now I cannot show it to you," replied the other. "When can you show it to me?" asked Bankei.